Welcome back inside TD Garden, everybody. My name is Mike Petralia. This, once again, is Josue Pavone.
Welcome back, Trags.
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. It was great. You know, same as usual. I ate as much as I could, and this year was no different.
I might have eaten a little bit too much. My stomach was kind of rumbling throughout the game, but you know what? That means we had a good Thanksgiving feast. And you know what the Celtics did here on Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving? They feasted.
Ooh.
See where I went there?
Yeah.
With the Orlando Magic by a score of 118-103. It's cliche, but it's true. The game wasn't really that close. The Celtics led 99-69 after 3 quarters. This is the Garden Report on CLNS Media, powered by CLNS Media and DraftKings. Use our promo code CLNS at DraftKings.com to get a free play with your first deposit. Again, the promo code CLNS at DraftKings.com. Let's get right to it, Josue. First of all, the passing of Al Horford in the first 8 minutes of this game. I think he had 7 assists. KYRIE Irving was on fire. He finished with 30 points. The first player in Celtics history since Kenny Anderson back in 2000 to score 30 points in 25 or fewer minutes. The efficiency of Al Horford and KYRIE Irving really led the rout of Orlando early on.
Yeah, you know, KYRIE Irving continues to do this. You know, he did it during that 3-game road trip. I mean, the fact that he's able to score 30 points with such little shots, I mean, it's remarkable, Trags. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that his supporting cast, I mean, you saw Jason Tatum go perfect from the field in that first quarter. You know, he had a 3-pointer. He followed that up with a couple of jump shots. And then you have other guys like Jaylen Brown who sort of open things up for KYRIE. And then when KYRIE's ready to be KYRIE, he has that space and he has that ability to sort of take over games. But he's very efficient in how he's doing this offensively. And he continued doing that tonight, Trags.
The Celtics, the reason this was a blowout early in the first half, they scored 70 points for the first time in the first half in a year and a half since they did it against Sacramento back in February of 2016. There were a lot of history markers set tonight in this type of game, but the reason they were able to score 70 points, they were 8 of 16 to start this game from beyond the arc. They were also 11 of 19 in the first half overall. They hit from beyond deep. Sometimes back in the Doc Rivers era, that was called fool's gold, but tonight they got the open shots, and what Brad Stevens told us post-game is a lot of those open shots came from great ball rotation. KYRIE made a point on the road trip. The Celtics had to do a better job of rotating the basketball, looking for better shots on the weak side. That's what they did tonight.
Yeah, you know what? And just to piggyback on your point about new records happening tonight, how about the star off the bench? I mean, of all guys, Terry Rozier. I mean, we saw him sort of go through a little bit of a shooting slump throughout that road trip, but he bounces back with a career high tonight. I mean, you talk about the ball rotation. He was in the receiving end at the end of a lot of those possessions, wide open threes, another open jump shot here or there, and all those points started to add up. I mean, when Terry Rozier is scoring that efficiently off the bench, I mean, that brings a lot of offense from that second unit. And tonight they managed to combine for 50 points with him leading the way.
Now, Terry Rozier had 21 points, as Josue mentioned. That's a career high. Surprise you at all, Josue? His previous career high was only 16?
It does, a little bit. It feels like he can score in bunches, and we've seen that throughout the regular season. But, of course, tonight was, of all nights, you know, I think a lot of that had to do with the fact of towards the tail end of that first half, Brad Stevens sticking with him along with the starters. He ends up scoring back-to-back 3-pointers, really got this crowd going, and really took the life out of the Orlando Magic heading into halftime. I
also think it bears pointing out that Orlando Magic did not provide any resistance. I tweeted that it was next to zero resistance on the defensive end. I was giving Orlando too much credit. They played zero defense in that first half, and they really contested very few of those 3-point shots the Celtics were putting up.
Yeah, they looked really defeated, Trags. I mean, I just feel like from the out of the gates, and that's something that I would like to see more often coming from the Celtics, when they come in and just start the game the way they did with the big lead in the first quarter, a double-digit lead in the first quarter. You saw the defense really collapse in the paint. Aaron Gordon looked very uncomfortable, and he's sort of their go-to guy when it comes to getting buckets, whether it's inside or out, and he looked very rattled. And then their outside shooter and Evan Fournier just couldn't find any momentum throughout that first half, and the Celtics just continued to put the clamps on those 2 guys in particular. And by the end of things, you know, going into that fourth quarter, like you said earlier, 99-66. I mean, 99-69, 30-point deficit. That's a tough tough hole to climb out of going into the fourth quarter.
Big part of the bench playing in this game was how much they played in the fourth quarter, and that was all of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, KYRIE Irving, Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, none of them played, and that is because they have a game in Indiana on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And I should mention the news coming out after the game is that Marcus Morris and his sore knee will not make the trip to Indiana. He will probably be back for the Monday night game, the opener of the 5-game homestand here in Boston. But your thoughts on Brad Stevens resting those 4 big players in the fourth quarter and how it might help them on Saturday night?
Well, it's funny, Trax. You brought up Doc Rivers. I mean, that guy was the king of resting his guys, and that's a great tool for Brad Stevens heading into Indiana. The fact that they were able to beat the Magic by this, by such a large margin, gives him that chance to rest his guys, gives him a chance to go to Daniel Tice in Indiana. He talked about that after the game as well. He didn't get a chance to play tonight. He decided to go with Yabusele instead. So it's going to be great to see Tice out there. They got a rising star in Miles Turner waiting for them in Indiana. So it's going to be great to see him out there and sort of add more minutes to his play and stopping these guys. And if they can make it a second win in a row against Indiana, second out of a back-to-back, I mean, that's always impressive, no matter what team you are in the NBA. All
right, the Celtics bounce back from seeing their 16-game winning streak snapped. They win for the 17th time in 18 outings, 118-103 here on Friday night over the Orlando Magic. KYRIE Irving, the star of the game. What else is new? 30 points, his 4th 30-point game of the season. 30 points in just 25 minutes of action. The Celtics improve to 17-3 on the season. Again, this Garden Report was brought to you by DraftKings. Use our promo code CLNS for a free play upon your first deposit at DraftKings.com. For Josue Pavon, I'm Mike Petralia. This is the Garden Report, powered by CLNS Media.